If a fight breaks out like it did in the Dodgers-Diamondback game, hopefully Andre the Diva Tieva, the MMA fighter we have in the studio. Andre, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys?
Good. You fight MMA. You're 4-0. You're going to be fighting an event that I will be emceeing, and I think they want me to sing the national anthem on June 29th. That should be fun. You 4-0. 3 of your wins are by submission. Are you a ground and pound fighter?
Yeah. I mean, I consider myself pretty well-rounded, but if it gets to the ground, that's where I'm most comfortable.
That's what she said. How do you? How did you get into this? How do you get into, like, there's kids growing up that you play football. I don't know if I doubt MMA is a high school letter sport. I don't know if you can letter in MMA yet. I think it would be too violent. But most kids, want to be doctors and lawyers or be on a Saturday show in the afternoon from noon to 2 with AJ. But how do you get into MMA fighting?
I just kind of fell into it. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a professional athlete.
Okay.
Or a ninja.
Sure.
Well,
you can do both.
Crazy enough, I happen to do both. But I never got into fights in school growing up or any street fights. I've been in 10 fights and they're all sanctioned. But,
yeah.
No, I played football in high school. I tried basketball, but I just wasn't very good at it.
Now, are you the main event on June 29th?
I am not actually, but I believe I'm pretty far back in the card, pretty close to the end.
Now, it's obviously we're on the radio, so people can't see, but and I don't take offense to this because you could probably beat me up, but you're a smaller guy.
I'm a little guy, yeah.
And anybody, that's the beauty of MMA, and I think that's the attraction to it is people. Anybody could do it. I mean, T-Bone behind you, who's a smaller man in stature, he could do it if he wanted to, or a guy like Chad Abbott, who's a massive human being in a good way, he could do it if he wanted to.
Absolutely. I mean, athleticism is part of it, but that's not everything, Yeah, I'm a little guy, but I mean, there's weight classes for everybody, so that's what makes it great about the sport. That anybody can start,
sure,
anybody can be successful. It's all about what you put into it, and however much you put into it, that's what you're going to get out of it.
Now, the fun part about the sport too is when you look at the different weight classes. And what specific weight class are you? I'm sorry.
I fight at 135.
135. So you look at the 135 guys, and it's a very different style of fighting than when you look at the heavyweights and the big boys. They're going to be
a lot more action
for sure, and it's a lot of fun. That's exactly right. You guys are flying all over the place. You're flipping over each other. It's a fast moving kind of fight. Is that you mentioned that you're kind of a ground and pound submission guy. I mean, does it just go all over the place? I mean, you get the full rounded MMA fighter when you talk about the guys that are your size.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be ready for anything. I mean, the sport's evolved to the point where you can't be good at just one particular area.
Sure.
You could be a great boxer, but someone's going to take you down. They're going to ruin your day. You have to practice everything, and that's what we work on every day in, day out. You gotta do things equally as far as, you gotta work on your boxing, you gotta work on your wrestling, you have to do jiu-jitsu. I mean, you gotta really think about the big picture.
We're talking to Andre the Diva Tieva, MMA fighter, 4-0, fights in the featherweight class. Now, we had a guy, there's a lot of guys, like Brock Lesnar, he did this for a long time. And you would know because you do it. And everybody got in a lot of arguments about him saying, well, he's really good at it. Well, no, he's not. He just has the one thing. And he may be listening, so careful. No, he's not listening. But he has that one thing where he is so big that it's like getting in a fight at a bar with him where if you don't get him right, if he gets at you, you're done. And then people, I think, figured it out, and then he quit doing the MMA fighting.
Well, and Brock's thing was, he was a good wrestler, but what made him a good wrestler is that he was just so much more athletic. And like you said, he was just bigger than everybody. He didn't like to get hit in the face, and that was, well advertised in the last couple of fights. He got hit a couple times, and he didn't like it. I don't know if it was just him or if it was the way he was training, but like I said, you got to be well-rounded, and he just wasn't it.
Well, I think the thing, too, with MMA, and like I told you, my brother loves it. A lot of my friends love it. They do the pay-per-view thing. They have people over, they watch it. I don't understand, and I'm not one of those people that say it's too violent. And I'm not a boxing guy like Common is, who, he says that this isn't really even, it's just a bunch of people beating, the crap out of each other. But there is an art to this. There is a thing that you have to do to keep yourself in prime shape. I mean, you're not going to go out there in awful shape and last more than 15 seconds. This is a tiring. You have to be very athletic to do this sport.
This is a sprint.
Yes, absolutely.
3 5-minute rounds. That's 3 5-minute round sprints. And by the way, shout out to Common.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, even though you're strictly a boxing guy. I see you at the boxing fights, but what's up?
You mentioned Brock Lesnar, and obviously Brock's background took him the wrestling route, so he came in there. What was the first thing, you mentioned you wanted to be a ninja when you were little. What was the first thing that got you into MMA? Were you a wrestler? Did you do karate or jiu-jitsu when you were young, or was it just looking for something to do and you started from a blank canvas?
I did karate when I was like 5 and 6.
Okay.
I don't really remember too much, but I saw a couple pictures, so I know what happened. But no, I played sports growing up, not a lot like organized really. But when I got to high school, I tried basketball, and I'm 5'7", and that just didn't work out.
Sure.
I played football, and once again, I just really didn't. I don't know. I caught onto it late, and I just didn't apply myself, and that didn't work out either. And then about my senior year of high school, I went to Northfield High School, Northfield, Minnesota.
Okay.
And the big thing in our high school was Olympic-style weightlifting.
Okay.
The snatch and the clean and jerk.
Sure.
And I got really good at that really quick. I don't know. I turned 18 and found athleticism all of a sudden. So,
yeah.
I went to nationals a couple times in that, and that was really fun. And I figured out I was a little fish in a big pond out there. So when I was done with that, a friend of mine, he was part of a small MMA gym kind of by my hometown. So I went there, checked it out. Did it a couple days a week, just for fun or whatever.
It's a good workout.
Yeah. It was just to kick your butt,
Yeah, oh yeah.
But, and then when I decided to get more serious about it, I met the right people, and I found my way up to Brooklyn Center, to the academy is where I train now.
Okay.
And for 3 years now, I've been going hard full time.
So what is the next step for Andre the Diva Tieva? I mean, what at 4-0, what do you do? I mean, is there like a minor league system in this? Like, how do you get to that level where you get the big money and you're on the pay-per-views and you're on, the Spike TV shows? How do you get to that level?
Good management and beating the crap out of guys.
That's it.
I gotta put.
You just gotta win.
You gotta win.
Yeah.
But now the way the sport is now, you gotta put on a show.
Yeah.
No one wants to see you go take someone down and sit on them for 3 rounds and win a really boring decision. You got to be exciting. You got to be a striker. You got to look for the finish the entire fight. That's what I got to do. I got to work my way up the ranks. These local shows are one thing. I got to take it to the next level. I fought on the Target. There was a show at the Target Center I fought on last April, and that was really good for me. I had a terrible performance, bad weight cut, just crap. But it was, there was 3,000 people there. It was kind of eye-opening, and it was just kind of like, okay, this is what the next level is going to be like. So,
Good exposure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you mentioned when you were talking about how you got into the sport, you kind of did it as a workout. A lot of, branching out to other sports, and a lot of professional athletes do jiu-jitsu or MMA training to keep them healthy and in shape for their Jared Allen for the Vikings does MMA jiu-jitsu stuff down in Arizona.
Yep.
What sort of attributes do these guys, these big guys who are never going to become professional fighters like yourself, what do they carry over? What when you're talking of a young kid out there who's listening right now who may want to do this just to stay in shape or to help them become more well-rounded, what sort of things can they get from just general jiu-jitsu MMA training?
Discipline. Discipline's a big part of it. When you have someone in your face holding focus mitts for you, calling out combos and not letting you quit for the entire round, it teaches something. It teaches in your head not to give up and just, to be an all-around harder worker, A lot of these football guys, I think they like – I think there's some of them that like to, do it because it's the new thing,
Sure.
It's the new Thai Bo.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, UFC is opening gyms all over the place just for fitness, not exactly for fighters. So I think that's what a lot of the NFL guys are doing. Jared Allen's a beast, don't get me wrong. I love the guy. But, and there's some that, become a lot more successful. Actually, my teammate, Pat Barry, who fights in the UFC tonight, he's fighting Sean Jordan is his name. And he played for LSU. College football player. Yeah. I think he might have been a fullback or something. He's a big dude.
I think the reoccurring theme here that we're learning from Andre the Diva Tieva is you need to be athletic to do this. You can't. you have to have some form of athletic ability to do this.
That might rule us out.
Yeah, that would rule almost all of us out, most of the listeners out.
Hard work will beat athleticism.
Okay.
10 times out of 10.
That's an absolute great point. When can we see you? When can the listeners? How can we check out? When can we see you fight?
Oh, June 29th, High Five Sports Bar and Grill down in Burnsville, Minnesota.
That's my hometown.
Where's High
Five? I don't even know.
High Five is off of Highway 42.
Okay.
It's down there by
up by the mall or down towards Savage?
A little bit more towards Savage.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little bit smaller show, but there's some really great fights. The place is gonna be packed. There's a couple titles on the line. Of course, yours truly. I'll be on the card, and I'm always fun to watch.
I would be. I think our listeners would be upset if I didn't do this to you.
Where's the name of the place again?
Misty Dark. It's High Five Sports Bar and Grill, Burnsville, Minnesota.
Have you got the website and the phone number just in case somebody might ask me? I always like to be prepared.
I really don't, but if you look it up or hit me up on Twitter, Andre Tieva, or my Facebook, Andre Tieva, I don't care, add me, do whatever you got to do. You can get all the information there. Yeah, I mean, I want to see a bunch of people there. I need to sell some more tickets.
I'll be there.
Well, they said they were getting a celebrity guest, and I was
that's not me.
No,
maybe AJ's coming. That can't be me.
Yeah, I was really confused.
And that's the thing. Like I learned from the Rube party we had last night, and maybe I probably should travel with you sometime because there are a lot of people I'm kind of afraid of that I thought were going to show up, but they didn't. But I don't know why people are so attracted to me in the sense that they're like thanking me for what I do. I'm an absolute train wreck. I say and do some of the dumbest things on the planet. Everybody loves this bit I do, the predictor song that I make up if you listen to the Power Trip. It's the worst thing ever. I put no effort into it and people love it. But
that's what makes it great.
Yeah, and so the celebrity, I'm not your guy. I don't know who they must be getting some. Maybe Common will be there. But
that'd be cool.
Andre the Diva Tieva, we thank you for showing up and we thank you for having you. And we'll come. I will be down there. Maybe we'll get a bunch of our listeners. Maybe we'll make a road trip out of it, just down to Burnsville. It's not like it's in Wisconsin or we got to travel far to do it. But we will come check you out.